Yes, as a cost, I'm not for free, about 18 kilometers, schools free, same. It is free, I'm moving the toll, no, so about the year program. I'm about still a man who's one. So, this course is English, math, science, and social studies. I don't need my teachers, no, sister schools, and I said nearby schools, no, they were interested.
I'm saying, inspirational, no, I'm saying that word inspiration, no, never amount for the station, no, pa. And to say, a ma, if you can move free, never can like Cote d'Ivoire, ni a yimo. Now, as I know, I'm saying, Yamsune, Cramosuna, when he now, so any J, international Cramophone, before Friday, no, I'm from your program. I'm saying, I'm say, light no go off, no, my son, no, me now, a marriage. Na ya pair a tribute na ya fa asofni bi na Bible discussions na no bi muntin Bible no mo na ebi so omusu gide no mu na na ya fa asole ba kon doctrine ya mani na ntina se ma unique no in fact ekwakyire e ma otum se na ebi mo free dabosu ni na du sa discussion no a in fact marriage no kwa na ma yen kwa asofni ba you feel kwa no bi abaso but some more can't worry same them worry problem say ma community na kasa no na ma no men ko so
o maybe a station no e ma kuna ni edane me fa se mention ni na energy sebi TV kura ni enya bi ha ansana ubenya TV na ji se Cote d'Ivoire na watu apampuro ansana wanya TV enti e ba sa no na afa e ma o mamuni na energy Emuano Mosadi radio no back first in the near link near your local program waha no more link akra and the chira omodi see yes our local program na hano na fede enumre bia efi ha ahoho oba asofofo oba ana mfa se yenua ma etonton enuro enso ba.
What else? Is that all? When we talk about there are many, we have candidates.
School pupils reel with nostalgia, the absence of the only radio station which was platform for vibrant quiz contests among schools in the area. Bismarck Kalusha is a mechanic turned technician who works on GBC transmitters whenever they break down. He says the power disconnection had compelled the substation at Osekojo Krom to intermittently use diesel fuel to run the machines, a practice that has proven to be unsustainable and a non-starter due to its expensive nature.
GBC, I was saying, I'm saying, in Pempi, you know, the Mediri Bahwa, your friend, and I say, me ba ebe buana e nwajuma. Nti na nzemo na say e break it down. I'm a break pa motherboard no crash say ema e be free akra before the ba ma e fix the so. Nti the so no am say na you run with fuel. The fuel no 2,000 kwa within an hour na sa. Nti ma ye kwa ho him. This will do okra na bia wo dwumadie bi crash e bo ho ayima no kra na de woman kana because of light na yen engine no oba oni say that am na say wajai dwumadie chiji won die chiji nti esa yes no rana ye rana o han say bia sponsorship no ye nya bia say dwumadie no so kwa na ekofom.
As the station is down, it is only logical to lose all clientele to few rival stations with content not as deep as those of GBC. Opinion leaders such as businessman and politician Alhaji Tanko Mustafa Amadou and Juan Joseph Mensah, aka Uncle Ebo, are not enthused by these happenings.
So one team unique from the Minister, this will go to Koniwa station. But I'm not unique from Mohana. Now, what you had will be our tinker, AFA. So, Bia a Koswa, especially government related issues, Yano, GBC station, Omodibeba, Tinema, Yahasina, near boy to
Yanami D. Aban Hoyao, Aban Dani, Aban or Tisuna, Midu Hoyao say. Yaje Japadia Cassi. ADC district na like be nti na japade no ede etumi enye adwuma ehadwe because TV station no na se satam na multi ne yima no GBC ya na ede nyina ehwe ena radio so no eno a na eti se station be bo ade wo bia mansim ha no etiti mranti bibria na no mo ye adwuma wa ha enam light off na koye ni nti no omo nyina adwane ko private stations sisi ama private stations no ena eden apeja ama sa yenkola na no mo ha nkanka sports pa de na western region hade na uji unique no bia den eni ho.
Days after our visit to Osekojo Krom, we got the following message on our phones from a resident of Enchi who might have got wind of our mission to the town sitting next to Enchi. The message reads, GBC, people of Enchi are sidelined by GBC. The reason being that we wanted to watch the Olympic Games, but GTV is not even on our decoders. And also the GBC Enchi station has been disconnected by ECG for 2 months now. Please, GBC should hear our cries more at Enchi, because they are the official TV station in Ghana to telecast the Olympic Games. From Michael Mafo, a resident of Enchi, a frustrated man whose voice might be representing millions. Many households are using analog-based television sets, outlived by technology. At Sifiyoso, a repairer of the old television sets, locally referred to as hunchback television sets, receives customers on daily basis, suggesting it is highly used within some communities.
Because we have one year scan got a flat screen, baby. Direct Copoya, Tiaticopo, Anna, a beer and sika, into no autonomy, multi TV, Vitumwa, no, you soon add in the crack.
Complaints by patronizers center around the non-use of digital TV decoders, which allows viewers with analog TV to view shows broadcast digitally. A TV decoder converts broadcasts to receive improved sound and picture quality. Most modern television sets have inbuilt decoders, so no need for separate decoders. Case of Sifiyoso is compounded by electricity disconnections that deny digital transmission stations from operating. Caught in this situation, GBC have had to toe the fine line, prioritizing and trading off to keep some transmitter stations in operation. The net result of electrical interference or lower power voltage in transmitters is weaker television signal. Onset of cable, digital terrestrial, and satellite television has displaced the analog, which is sometimes saved by use of digital decoders. Andrew Opoku Mensah is a technician at GBC substation in Sifiyoso.
We are facing a lot of challenges due to TV transmission. Gone are the days when we were using the analog transmission. Our signal was perfect. Though some people were not receiving us very well, the signal quality wasn't good, but still they can get us. But when we migrated into digital platform, people are not able to receive us from a long distance. Just because digital transmission, when the signal is weak, then it cuts. There's nothing like noise or anything. And because of that, a lot of people are complaining that they are not getting our signals.
A potential reduction in energy usage by transmission networks and several networks on a single frequency instead of the independent parallel networks which are common in analog broadcasting. These fall flat in most places, including Sifi, where the reasons advanced so far. In recapping, It is the result of electrical power disconnection over unpaid bills, leading to shutdowns of GBC transmitters on the accounting balance sheets of affected stations. Make no mistake, the stations are not a liability, as respondents to our investigative team are very clear on the point that the radio station that served Osei and elsewhere, as we gathered, were extremely useful. The difficulty lay in operational costs, because public service broadcasting requires entry to places for no economic gain. The mixed bag is now down to what the corporation prioritizes or prefers to trade off to keep those running in other parts of the country in service. A shutdown of GBC substations that serves the outposts will have a toll on farmer radio applied by government of Ghana through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to complement the work of Agric Extension.
Farm radio works with media organizations, especially partner radio stations. One of our strong partner media that we normally work with is GBC because of their nationwide coverage. In every region, you will find GBC radio station located there. But not just that. Normally during the formative research or the baseline, most of the listeners that we normally interview before we start every radio program sometimes indicates that they want us to work with GBC. So you may get like 5 or 6 radio stations that they want us to use their medium to disseminate tailor-made information. But you see that GBC comes number 1 or sometimes to a second or third.
Even though it is a multimedia approach, farmer radio broadcasting in languages under ambit of GBC remains the centerpiece of that platform. Most rural farmers are comfortable with mother tongue than official language. Yes, some of the private radio stations are trying in this respect, but most of them go no further than the nationally spoken Akan language. GBC targets all minority groups and those living in the margins in 25 languages on 33 radio frequencies. Non-availability of GBC's outlets could spell disaster for rural folks, especially agriculture, will be the hardest hit. A section of the public skewed essence of TV license to only television content. That is important, but the larger picture which that money is expected to support is entire GBC outlets, particularly radio, which has widespread accessibility. Fake news and irresponsible comments found on social media makes the alternative too vital to ignore as far as public informed decisions are concerned. You can put your last bet on GBC when it comes to content that are edifying and authentic.
What is that? What would you catch us when you time?
I recall a night in 1984 during days at a scientific jazz in the Ashanti region, whilst watching the popular Akan drama Osofudazi on Ghana television with my family. There was a snap in transmission and disappointed folks called out Jamase. Fast forward to 2021 and Jamase is abreast the advances in technology, a place I now know to be a GBC relay station. Further enquiries throws up for attention that whenever a crisis occurs, it could mean any of the parts on the transmitters became faulty or there was a power outage. These affected transmission causing anything between grainy pictures on the television screens and a complete no-show. The Jamasi station, like all other GBC transmitter stations, have been transformed into digital, leaving the analog machines almost redundant. Yet, Jamasi is part of the many overwhelmed by electricity bills. Without energy to power machines, Jamasi has no tailwind, and the supposed enhanced system recoils to square one, assuming the character of nearly 4 decades ago. It gives other stations the leeway to make inroads in the competition, creating the impression GBC has reneged on its avowed social contract with the people. At Asinfosu in the central region, mostly elderly citizens are bound with nostalgic memories of GBC content yesteryears, with some sumptuous suggestions on way forward for the corporation.
GBC the main person there, idea managing back on the programs are in the number year. A baby is to this time, the eyes are my body man. Never say a baby no. What about you on Unya, Canana, Camoye, Obra, friends, TV theatre, never be an anchor, Tingo, for Mount Tumica, Eco GTV. This time, the Sanimana or Bobrashu is in a episode. I might see, and never go high was who are the name.
Don't the same in BBC say, greetings from abroad on Nomniad. Football education on Saturdays it was constant from 10 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock. National Math and Science quiz. Now constant. But somebody now is echo.
Uko GTV. Uti echo so. Nti ma ya ni ji ho. Na on program no so chachira bebre ewu adesua wu. Compared to the other TVs, no dear marketing. You want more dear and here woman. But GTV or can some chair. You who dear co. Near who the senior between Yanamo. Dear pet, near.
Station managers or technical persons or security officers who have fairly good idea about how the stations are run at widely dispersed locations as Asinfosu, Obuase and Bole confirmed the no electricity syndrome that now looks like the monstrous Goliath.
2018, ECD came and then disconnected us. And then since then, we've not gotten access to power. So GBC now, as it stands, we are not having power at our station. But with the DTT, that one, because it is with KNET, that one we have power. And majority of the people are not on that satellite.
We have power. Power, we have no problem. Although Greco said we are owing them, but we have power on our meter that we can transmit. But it's just our equipments are not functioning. That is the challenge that we have in Boli, that we don't transmit for now. At present, it's only the digital station that KNET people came and on in Boli that people are getting TV, GTV on.
Gentlemen taking it easy under a baobab tree after a hard day's job in Bole, a major town in Savannah region, probably preached more than the Pope about GBC. Take a listen.
2008, na yenye GTV station wa. Utimichie FM no in the unique ne nyina, but abedrum brevi na omo air condition no ashi. Omo bisa say GC no bema omo air conditioner omo dibeya omo nye na stations no close. By GTV there first no there now odi antenna no share atoa na live GTV aba obetima nye stations ni nyina but abeye sa no abeye say atames tam no na GTV no close. Yes,
we get GTV from GTV Sports Plus. But if you don't have that multi-TV, you can't get that station and watch. So that's our problem that we are facing now.
GTV, for the time, since the time of Memorial, we don't get GTV. So I will say, because of that, the whole community, the whole district and its environs, about 99.9% of the the whole district. I don't think they get reception.
These private stations, when they are giving news like this, you see there are some jokes they bring which is not even part of the news they are giving. So you see that it becomes very, very monotonous. You don't understand what they want to tell you. Somebody will be cracking jokes. Instead of mentioning the actual word, you go and say something different. Then finally they confuse you, don't know what they are talking about.
District Chief Executive of Bole touched on the subject matter of TV license.
I've lived abroad for 30 years. Immediately you buy a TV, the license comes with it. So I don't know how you're going to do it. Are we going to actually work with the people who sell these things? You buy it, it follows you, you pay 1 year. Then they will chase you to be paying the yearly, which helps you to get more information out there for us. So to me, to get a TV license, it's the way to go, because that's how it is everywhere. But I don't know how much some of us can pay.
The use of simple English grammar and a wide range of vernacular by Ghana's state broadcaster is therefore a tool to promote deeper understanding of media content. As to the misunderstanding relating to TV licenses, that will presently be explained by Director General of GBC, Professor Amina Lassan.
When you go to Britain, the BBC, the Dutch Welle in Germany, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation in Australia, and the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. In Africa, let's take South African Broadcasting Corporation and Namibian Broadcasting Corporation, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, or Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. All these are funded. Let's get it clear. They are directly funded through TV license or a public media tax system, or they are given direct provisions from the budget. In the case of CBC in Canada, they don't have a TV license regime. What they do is that every year, the government makes an allocation for the operations of CBC to Parliament, and Parliament disburses the funds to the public broadcaster called the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. In Australia, in Germany, in Britain, it's TV license fee. So public service broadcasters everywhere are funded. In South Africa, SABC is funded by the government through a public tax system. Namibia Broadcasting Corporation is funded through a public tax system. What we need to understand is that public service broadcasting everywhere is funded in one form or another.
Another key installation of GBC is at Hain, in Upper West region, not far from the border with Burkina Faso. Like the others, this GBC relay station was put in place decades ago to boost radio and television in that part of Ghana at the time the upper region was not split in two for administrative purposes. Hain was designed to absorb part of the load on the substation at Bolgatanga on the east of the upper regions. Hindsight experience reveals a communication structure in which the state sought strong presence in sparsely populated area as Hain and elsewhere because information was calculated to touch each and every soul in the country, but not for business. The GBC Hain station is now a pale shadow of its past glory as transmitters are shut down over electricity bills. Now, Hain and its surrounding areas pick signals from WA. There are no satellite dishes on roofs of buildings at Hain, and this probably suggests the system in vogue, digital broadcasting, is even struggling there. We are now at Chapuri village, which is contiguous with Hain. It was here the documentary crew found one Salifu Suleiman, who opined on some of the issues raised so far.
Actually,
Previously, we used to watch GTV. In the years of 1990s, 99, there about up to 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, closely to 2009. From 2009 there up to now, we have challenges about our transmission station in Hen particularly, because around the 80s they were transmitting from Ural Radio from Bolga. Then later, 1999 thereabout, we break away from Bolga then to our Radio Upper West. Then we're having a very signal Radio Upper West, both TV station and radio station. The station was transmitting all right. But for some time now, once I'm not working there, I can't actually best tell the program facing them. We have difficult with TV station and the radio station, especially the radio station. We have much difficult in catching Radio Upper West. If you don't have a strong radios, you can't catch Radio Upper West. For TV station, if you don't have a distant panel, you can't catch it. If you even catch it, but the station, very bad signal. At times, you catch it and it will say bad signal, you wait, then off and on. So that is the problem facing us now.
A former employee of GBC, James Dakura, who retired in 2015, said, among other things, that the absence of decoders in the area is due to the lack of public awareness on the digital migration, and so most of television users are stuck to the analog system. Can we then say the people are in double blackout? There was a re-echo of some of the factors raised in Nkwanta Inuti region.
Management decided to put this station here, so the hand station will pick signals from Bolga and retransmit to the whole of Upper West. That was the role it meant to play, which it did perfectly till a few years ago, around 2016 or 17 or so, when our power got finished, credit, and the station has been idle ever since. Till recently, the cable removed some parts of this place to Wa, and to boost the signals to Wa up. So presently, the people in this area receive that from Wa. And other stations, like Gulu FM, Radford FM in Tumu, and Tumpani Radio, Tumpani FM also in Adoli, and Laura FM, sometimes Nandom. Yeah. But in town here, in High here, it's not FM station. TV was the first to go off air. That went on before we had power shortage. Our credit got finished. So right now, both TV and because there's no power, both FM and TV are off. But we are using the digital terrestrial TV.
One other idea meant to chip away the problems weighing down operations was put across by the manager of the GBC station at High, Mohammed Kasim.
If we use solar energy, because there's more energy enough in the sector. So if they use solar, it will help a lot. Because what affects GBC generally is the power consumption, because the transmitter consumes power.
Research indicates that the cost of installation and operation of solar power, at least within the scope of GBC, is far less monthly electricity consumption. The majority of gadgets and machines used in performing electronic broadcasting needs cold storage, such as air conditioning rooms, to secure their integrity, and indispensability that will also mean consumption of large volumes of electricity. In the north of Ghana, where tropical climate scorches 7 out of 12 months in a year, this geographical zone has abundant sunlight to power solar machines. Security experts have said that it was always going to be difficult to contain the tempers surrounding land disputes in the given area I will mention pretty shortly. Finally, what everybody dreaded but predicted happened when the tempers spiraled out of control into full-blown violence. The latest of such sporadic conflicts occurred in 2019, thrusting Treponi in spotlight for the wrong reasons. The town is another border town with Togo, and it is located in the northeast region of Ghana. The dust now settled, with peace appearing to have taken a foothold. The chiefs and people of Treponi have been counting the cost and doing their own post-mortem on the conflict. A point raised by the chief of Treponi, Nanyami Kofi Malba, in an interview at his palace struck a chord. He said if there were to be a reliable radio station serving the community, the parties to the dispute will have used any platform offered by the radio station to exchange views and resolve the matter amicably before things got out of hand. According to the chief of Treponi, a media platform operated by the neutral and ethically minded GBC will have drained out tensions and talked the people out of the bloody affair.
Yeah, Chief is saying that it would have been a very good platform to have patch up our differences. He's saying or recounting that because of the non-availability of FM station or any means of us sitting together and amicably resolving our differences, the factions were even made to go to places like Yendi, where you go to sit and then you all talk around the issue, then it is resolved. So he's saying that if we had had an FM station, then it would have served that purpose. People, as you said, people would have had the opportunity to go and air what was in them and constitute a source of worry. So that pent-up feeling would have been aired, and for that matter, it would ease the situation and our differences would have been patched, and the thing wouldn't have protracted to the level it got to.
Again, we got a sense of a near takeover of the media space in Tripoli and its environs by foreign media, which had penetrated deep in the volatile situation in the absence of a national radio station to speak to the indigents. Benjamin Kofi Ingiza is an assemblyman.
I am born and bred in this very district of ours, and it's a very sad story, so to say. Chereponi happens to be a border town, and hence we are just located some few kilometers away from one of the major towns in Togo called Mango. So if there is going to be any advert, funeral announcement, any information that requires a wider listenership of the populace, we have to go across the border and then give that information to an FM station in Togo. So in terms of coverage and what have you, I must be frank and say that Chereponi, we are really suffering.
Currently, 2 privately owned radio stations are operating in the area, which is dominant with 3 major ethnic groups: the Konkombas, the Chokosis, and the Anafos, any of which need not wield an advantage within resolution mechanisms. Meanwhile, at nearby Saboba, opinion leaders have been vocalizing the merits in having a strong GBC presence in the town. Speakers go by the names Mark Entuo, an assistant coordinating director at the Saboba District Assembly, as well as Bukari and Telabi, and Ataya Meba Samuel, both of whom are assemblymen.
Using other multimedia devices, that's where we can get GTV very clear. Aside that, without any device, it's very difficult for you to access GBC. When we come to the radio aspect, it's absent here. We don't get access to the radio aspect. So we don't normally receive news or information from GBC.
We have so many young ones who live in the villages. They don't really have the opportunity
to see what's happening. So maybe sometimes those who are privileged to watch in the capital actually disseminate the information.
Matters arising were tossed before two of Ghana's academic heavyweights, Professor Kwame Kekari, a communications specialist, and Professor Kwesi Enin, a security expert, were enlightening on subject matter. Both are thought to be strong, independent voices.
Because we have a government or governments, citizens must have access to information that the government is putting out. Information that public institutions are putting out for the benefit of the citizens. Information that are useful for citizens to live their lives with. Information that pertains to all manner of things concerning the development of the communities and of the citizens.
There were these rediffusion boxes that could be found in lorry parks, in the most remote areas of Ghana. Even on your way to farm in the middle of nowhere, there was a rediffusion box.
Exactly.
That entertained, but even more importantly, informed. So if there are blackouts 60 years after independence, then I think it sends a very dangerous signal. It is of our broader vision to fund GBC optimally, to compete as if its life and its survival were based on that competition and the success of that competition. Now, BBC gets some subventions. Voice of America does. Australia National Television and Radio. Norwegian Radio. Danish television. So the idea of state subvention or citizens paying aspect of their taxes to ensure that GBC survives and competes is not an aberration at all.
There are communities around our borders, towards Cote d'Ivoire, towards Burkina Faso, towards Togo, and so on, where the citizens, the information they get is only from the surrounding countries and in French or in the local languages around where perhaps the citizens in the Ghanaian side also have access to. Even advertising, commercial advertising. When people want to do funeral announcements, they go across the border for the radio stations there to do the funeral announcements for them. When they have something to sell, some service to provide, they sell the advertising to those radio stations across the border. You see, so, and in this era of terrorism, of security, this is not right at all. So whichever way you look at it, a government must be interested in every community, every citizen having access to information that is of public use and public interest.
It is a national security threat if national radio and television are forced to be absent, not as a result of a clampdown though, but by the harsh cost associated with mandatory public service broadcasting, originally not for profit, but national ideals oriented. This said, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation remains the only outlet with the most extensive national coverage. The media giant, which have some of its feathers plucked away following electricity disconnections to some of its substations, has a case yet to be fully understood. Like responsible parents to their children, so does the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, as it is resolute in service for the teeming population, regardless of crippling conditions. No clear or comprehensive survey have been conducted that guarantees adequate Ghanaian news in the fringe communities of Ghana. The reality on the ground is that one cannot guarantee the presence of authentic national information on all corners of the country should GBC be absent. Few private traditional media which may show up may not be adherents to ethical standards. The social media alternative is also a non-conformist. It is widely known that areas closer to Ghana's land borders are receptacles ranging between a bombardment and knowing only the outlets blasting into the territory from neighboring countries. It drags acculturation into the equation, a subject for further enquiry. As Ghana is surrounded by French-speaking countries, how would a news broadcast in French language influence a population that is 95% Anglophone? Thinking sensibly through the logic will arise the possibility of border communities also learning the other languages very fast and turning completely in the opposite direction because that is what is available for them. Granted, the second scenario is the case, there will be implications for national security. It presents fertile grounds for any foreign aggressors who will have found in the indoctrinated citizens of the target country a soft spot. A two-way process of acculturation with mutual dividends also open a page on electronic media that broadcasts to French-speaking countries from Ghana. It deepens national appreciation of the other international language and offers a sales pitch to place it beyond Ghana's borders. If proximity to transmitter stations will be important within context of these discussions, then the disconnections won't help, as it is GBC which is most committed to the margins.